The idea is to get a sweeping motion on this wall. It's really about laying in lines in one direction, just like you would with your pencil. But there's a lot of correspondence with just plain drawing. You know, they look animated, and that's a kind of a drawing style we're placing on the surface, but that animation gives them a kind of an emotional quality. I'm fond of saying that before I could begin, I had to figure out what birds and beavers and other natural shelter builders already know about sticks, and that they have an inherent method of joining. They constantly want to snag and entangle in everything else, and it's that infuriating tendency to tangle that I utilize to hold these pieces together.
We did about a dozen field trips around Colorado, and we ended up collecting from sources in Canyon City all the way up to Fort Collins and even to West Cliff, Colorado. In total, we gathered about a semi's truck worth. The willow does really well when you give it a good haircut. So in most areas, we're only clearing about 10 to 30% of the willow population, and it tends to spring right back right after you cut it.
This is my 300th big sapling sculpture. I make 10 a year. Well, years ago, decided to partner with organizations, and the first effort in that partnering was to have people help me gather. Before long, we realized that in fact the volunteers wanted to help work on the pieces. They were hot to be able to put their hands to it. You know, I think a good sculpture is one that causes a lot of personal associations that you call back to different times in your life, and there's a relevancy about the good sculpture. In other words, in this case, you might think of a bird nest you've seen, or childhood play, or a moment under the lilac bushes, or a favorite walk you take in the woods. So you might think of the Garden of Eden and simple shelter.